Lena Blag Gemara. Today, Sunday's daf is daf Yud Dalid, and we're continuing to go through the Mishnah. We're concluding it actually. We're talking about now the Yavam, where we discussed that you acquire Yavam Yavama through Bia, and there are two methods of ending it. One is Chalitza, so you don't pursue the Yivam side, you do Chalitza, and then we say Uvemisas Hayavam. The Yavam dies, about 20 lines from the top of the page. Says the Gemara Minolan. How do we know that if the Yavam dies? Because she's free and she can marry anybody she wants. Says the Gemara Kavachem. Simply, after we have established that any married woman, if the husband dies, she's released, and we know that a married woman living with anyone else is an iser of chenek of bisa. So a Yavama who is in waiting to marry the Yavam, if she marries anybody else, she's merely committed a lav. If he dies before she married him, she is surely for free. Kavachem. So you want to kavachem. Ma H is a married woman. She bechenek. You get normally chenek. Means the bal matiros. So the husband's death releases her Yavama. A Yavama who is waiting for her brother-in-law, marrying anyone else. She belav merely a navera like Koshke. Surely his death should set her free. Says the Gemara. What do you mean? Mala H is you know why a married woman she can yaitze beget. There are other ways for her to get out. No, it's easy to secure her release. If the Yavam to be gives her a get, it's meaningless, Mahatera. She still has to go through the Rabbanah say Chalitza. But nothing happens. So it's much more difficult to be released from a Yavam. So maybe his death also doesn't release her. So the Gemara says, no, but Hanami is Chalitza. Okay, instead of get, there's Chalitza, which is sort of similar. So it doesn't make Yavam any stricter than the case of an Eish. So, but nevertheless, it's on par. Ella Male she can Isa Matida by a married woman with the one who asks her, releases her, saying over here that your brother-in-law asks, therefore releases. The most obvious question is the Yavam is stepping in the shoes of his brother. So it's not the Yavam who's asking, it's the brother, the original brother who's married to her, just left her childless, that asks her. The one who asks is the one who permits her. Yavam Isa, Yavam Sharla. So we answer back. Sorry. So the first thing Mara thought that Isha might be different. So Ravashi says, no, it's not the person who died who's holding her back. If he had no brother, she's free. It's only the fact that the brother's alive. So Hanami Oisra Matida, the one who asks is Matir. Yavam Oisra, Yavam Shola, it's the Yavam. Says the Gemara, but the hey H is chalitza kaluchayim. So now that we've established the dinim of a yavam and the dinim by a married woman, why can't we set free a married woman from her husband? Also using chalitza method, just like it works by yavam. Bekaluchayim. And we'll make a kaluchayim. My yavam yavam doesn't have. It's not so easy to release. A get is not effective. Yaitze bechalitza. Zushi yaitze beget. Yaitze bechalitza. Surely she go out with the chalitza. So by H each that goes out with a get, surely she should also go out with chalitza. Amakra, if we have a pasuk, sefer krisis, sefer koisha, the only method of release is a get, not chalitza. So so how do we know misa? We learned yesterday in the Gemara where we learn out from the Torah equates misa to a get. Says the Gemara, okay, let's go the other way around. But hey, Yavama yaitze beget. Now that we've established an H can be released with a get, why doesn't Yavama work the same way? Well, my H in yaitze, but chalitza does not get set free through a chalitza, yet yaitze beget. So in other words, it's pretty easy. Zushi yaitze chalitza, Yavam who goes out, Yavama who's released with the chalitza. Ain't it in? Surely she yaitze beget. She should be released with a get. On Makro, therefore, we bring, it says in Pasuk, we have a word in the Pasuk there where it says that Kocha, this is what you say. Kocha, this is what should happen to a person who refuses to build the house of his brother. Kocha means this is the only way. The Kocha ikufu. And because it says the word kocha, that comes to hold back. Says the Gemara, I want to limit it to this. This is the only way. Chalitza, not get. Says the Gemara, you telling me whenever the Torah gives a word that limits it, this is the method to be used. We're not going to try to expand the kavachema. I'm going to show you that we did try to expand it. It didn't work for another reason, but we tried to expand kavachema even though there's a meat. For example, Yom Kippuri and Kippur, it says when you bring the two goats, it says you make a goydel, which one goes to Hashem, which one's a Chatz Hashem, which one's Azazel. And by Yom Kippur, that everything we are told the Torah, this is the way it should be, and yet through a Kalachema we tried to add another way of establishing which is the Chattas and which is La Hashem and which is the Azazel. Even though the Torah had a limiting words, it shows that a Kalachema can expand even when the Torah limits it. For example, with time in the Braisa, it says in the pasuk that Chattas, you should make the Chattas how through a Goydel. A goydel is a chatzer. Hashem is a chatzer. Only the goydel can do it, not the name. I would have thought, why need the pasuk tell you that? I would have thought that dinu. Generally, and everywhere else, where a person has to bring two karbanos, let's say two doves, and oil and the chattas, you have to establish that which is which by the time of purchase, or that when you give it to the kohen. Yet a goydel is not effective. Is malkum shekiddush a goydel is effective? Ain't surely she kaddish Hashem. You can also use a kaddish Hashem. It says, well, so chattas, the pasuk has to say, this is the only method to make it a chattas. A goydel is a chattas, and Hashem is a chattas. Only the goydel. Now, the time of the miyatakra, only because he had this pasuk. Holav hachit, half of this pasuk. Dashina kavuchemer. We would dash for kavuchemer. Afagav leksibe chukah, even though it says the word chukah. So this that it says kacher doesn't mean anything. On Makro, you're right. To give you another reason altogether, you know what it says? A pasuk by a get. It says a pasuk because of law. Only to write in her law. Only to her you can write a get. But not to a yibam. Says how do you know that's what the laws come to teach you? Law lishma. Like when you write a get, you have to write it having her name in mind. So when that's a trade law, see, there's another pasuk where it says law by get, and therefore we have it twice. Says the Gemara. Vakati boyle, we need both laws. Chad law lishma, one that to write to her name, but either law will to her, and not to her friend. And there's the Rashi here is very cryptic. Rashi says law will towards the bottom of the page. First, Rashi says you have two wives, and two identical names. You cannot use one divorce for two wives. And then Rashi says, im kosa pleni, if a husband writes in a get. Megad is playing has two wives, two different names, and he puts them both in one get. You can't do that. So Rashi starts off talking about that it's both wives have the same name. You cannot use one get for. Then he says even two wives different names. You cannot use it by writing their names in one document. And I'm first trying to grapple with Rashi here. Anyway, says about further. We have another passage where it says now that how do you release a woman from a yavam through a now with a shoe? Now it says only a shoe. It's an extra word now. Beit chalutz now is an extra word to tell you that what only the shoe. That's the only method to set it free. So you know now lahochia. That's what it's for. We learned now his shoe ain't the now it has to be the shoe of the future brother-in-law. Now, if he doesn't have a shoe, you can use somebody else's shoe. Now, extra word now. So we need that extra now to teach you can use anybody's shoe. Riba, why is it his shoe? Now, not to tell you that this is the only method, but now it has to be a shoe that's suitable. Except in his a shoe is too big, you can't really walk in it, or the cut in the shoe is too small, it doesn't cover most of his foot. And prat lemasulim, a shoe that has no heel, so we use that now for that. How do you know that means only something else? Now, let it say now. My now, the shoe. Two dinim from the shoe means the only method as well. So in the mission now, we finished talking about the marriage. Talking now also about acquiring an eved. You have different kinds. You have an eved ivri, a Jewish eved, and you have an ivri, a Jewish maid. An eved ivri can be sold by a bezin if he stole, and this only applies to a male. If he stole and he can't repay, or if he sold himself, he was destitute or he's impoverished, and he wants his family to provide his family, so he sold himself. And it's called a moicher atzmai. And then you have an eved who was sold to a goy. And bear that in mind as the Gemara goes through trying to learn different halachas. Says the Gemara, Eved Ivri, how do you acquire an Eved Ivri? You may Eved, Nikla Bekesser Shtar, also through Kesser Shtar, but Atzman, how does he acquire himself back his independence? Bishonim, 6 years go by. Since you bought him, or B'Yabel, if a Yabel comes across even the second year of his servitude. He set free. But growing Kesser, where you redeem himself by deducting the amount of money he paid and then working out how much you already worked and then deducting the rest. You say, and then he pays for the balance. You say, He has another method of acquiring a pendant. That's some money when she matures, puberty. Hanirtze, somebody who decided he wants to remain as an Eved even after beyond the 6 years. Nick the Betzia, he's acquired by piercing his ear because it's Atma. And how is this person set free? Only Yovel. Even if Yovel comes by his way, or the Mises Adam that the master dies, he does not get passed on to the children. He's not part of the inheritance, does not get passed on to the children. Yeah. This is talking about beyond the 6 years. Within the first 6 years, even if the master dies, he stays on with the children until the 6 years expire. Says whatever even you can be kesef and how do you know never you can be purchased with money? I'm across the post. It can be kesef because you have to deduct from the money that he paid. So therefore, we know from that he obviously paid money in the beginning. And that's where you deduct it from. Ashkan, oh, we know from there, that pasuk is talking about when you redeem him from a goyish master. Okay, because goyim generally buy things through money. A goy generally uses the method of kesef to buy things. Because the idea of Mashiach is only mentioned by Yidden. It's not by I was learning more about the so on. The soul to a yid, how do you know that also over there is money on a cross? So the pasuk, it says that she should be redeemed. Melamed should be grasped, but said that you help deduct her money and she can go free. Now it could have said the nifta, he should redeem him by saying vehifta means the master sort of helping out. How? By deducting already the time spent. Says the Gemara, Ashman, all that pasuk is talking about by a Jewish maid. Because since a Jewish maid, you can also be mekadosh with money. So money is a kinyan that has to do work. So mikanya bekesef. Oh, but eved ivim, how do you know an eved ivim also works on makra? So the pasuk imachlecha echicha ha'ivri oy ha'ivriya. The Torah equates the two. Avat choshay shani makish ivri we makish an eved ivri to a maid. Okay, so about Ashkan, that pasuk talking about Mechur Bezin that they were sold against their will. How you wouldn't about since against their will. So therefore, maybe when's the Mechur Bezin? For example, the guy stole and he couldn't pay back, so the Bezin will sell him. So it makes sense that that the kesef as well as a method of kinyan. Since we see already that you don't need a full kinyan, the Bezin sells him against his will. So maybe a kesef is enough. But every other evid, maybe you have to do a kinyan chazak, a much stronger kinyan. So Meicher Atzmai, a person decides to sell himself. How do you know also this is a form of acquisition? So you want to yalla if you learn out Gzer Shava. Gzer Shava is Sachir. It says by Eved Kimishnas Char Sachir, and it says also by Meicher Atzmai that he should treat him Kisachir Ketoisha. So we get Gzer Shava Sachir. We compare a Meicher Atzmai to a Meicher Bezin. Says Gemara, that only works according to the one who says who agrees with the Gzer Shabbat. Elaman de lo yolav sachir. One does not learn the two. What are we going to say there? Amakra, we'll soon see who that is. Amakra, there's another passage where it says the chisasig that if you can afford the gay and toishav and so on and so forth, and it says vichisasig by saying vichisa and continues chisasig moisel in addition, it comes to add to the previous subject. It's talking about a meicher atzmai to a goy, and it says that you try to redeem and so on and so forth. So before that the meicher atzmai yisrael the yilmid el b'yotachna, and you learn meicher atz yisrael from meicher atzmai goy. Says you want a man tan lo yosashar, who is one doesn't know chasachim. Haitanu is the following Tanya. The Tanya we learned there are a number of dinim by a Meicher Bezin. The question is, do the same dinim apply to a Meicher Atzma? For example, a Meicher Atzma, if somebody sells himself Nimkel L'Sheish for 6 years, the Yeser Al Sheish, even more than 6 years. On the other hand, a Meicher Bezin ain't Nimkel L'Sheish. Very different. It can only be limited to 6 years. Next, another difference. A Meicher Atzma ain't a Nirtza. He cannot volunteer to stay on. Meicher Bezin Nirtza. He wants to stay on beyond 6 years. He gets pierced and stays on. Another difference. Number 3. And the Gemara is going to explain each one how it works. Meicher Atzmai ein manikim lo. Meicher Atzmai, you don't give him the severance pay when he finishes working. But Meicher Bezin, but the Bezin sells him manikim lo, you do give him. Case number 4. Meicher Atzmai ein rabbi meisel shivcha kananis. If somebody sells himself, the master doesn't have a right to give him a shivcha to bear children, which belongs to the master. But Meicher Bezin rabbi meisel shivcha kananis. Rabbi Lezer says, I disagree with you totally. They're both exactly the same. Zevazeh and English, they're both limited to 6 years. Zevazeh and Nisra both can stay beyond by piercing. Zevazeh and Manika, both can get severance pay. But Zevazeh, Rabbi Moshe Kanan, both of them what? The master can give a Shiva Kananis. So my lab, how come this is the argument? Tanakama lo yalev sachar doesn't learn the two, doesn't equate the two a meicher atzma to a meicher bezin, but lo yalev sachar. That's what we said before. The one who so doesn't believe it. However, Rav Tabimi says name Abaye lav davka. Kul yalma, everyone can hold yalev sachar. And here. And over here, we're actually arguing about something totally different. Now, we could learn sachar, but yet they're still arguing here. My time in Tanakama, let's go for din number one. Why does he say this is limited to 6 years? Why does and Meichel Atzma can go beyond? He can sell himself for 7 years, 8 to 10 years. What's the swat of Dama? Meichel Atzma nimkel sheish v'yesed al sheish even more than 6 years. Is the more said me it's Rachmanig Mechur Bezin because he believes the Torah has a special me by Mechur Bezin. It says in the passage Avot Choshesh Shanim, go serve 6 years. He will serve you. No, only this person can live is limited to 6 years. But somebody says themselves they can go beyond 6 years. Says he might read you know we use the word avotcha for not to exclude Meicher Asma, but l'chot to you it does not work for your heir. Says the Gemara. And the other one says, we'll see later. The Gemara says avotcha achnik. If half for that, have another avotcha. The other one I have merely is that to appease the master to want to give him severance pay. They shouldn't feel bad. Why not give him severance pay? I paid him for I bought him, I paid money for it. So you'll be benched and so on. My time to come with it's like number 2. A Moichan Atzma cannot pierce himself. But the Miyat HaRachmana, because by Machru Bezim have a special limited where it says V'rotza Doinev as Oznoi, his ear, and not someone who sells himself. But Matzeya Oznoi Shaloi, Oznoi Shemoichan Atzma, only his ear, and not the ear of a Moichan Atzma. Says the Gemara, the Idach, what does the other one say? One who says that's all included. Ahil Gzei Shavados, when you need Oznoi for Gzei Shavat. Time you learn about it. Let's say Shiba is and your money. I know it's a right here. Never can all you them and how it says there by mitzvah as well that you have to go ahead and sprinkle on him, and we say that that's the right ear. There's a mal halan yom in the right ear. Avkan yom in the right ear. Either the other one that says no, it's coming to limit. Only a meicha bezin gets the ear pierced. Let us say oizen, my extra oizen, and we have here show my oznoi his ear. The right, I was going to tell you, only his ear, not Meicher Atzmei sells himself. I need that as well. Not to exclude a maid that she cannot stay on. We learn out, the Eved says, I want to stay beyond the 6 years, only an Eved and not a maid. He needs it. He can only hold on. He's within the 6 years. He can say, I want to stay longer. The moment he was set free, and then he said, oh, I want to go back, it's too late. And he learns that from the Eved. Could have said Eved by saying ha'eved. That's where he learns that from. Eved ha'eved. She doesn't believe that it's extra. We'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow.